Gabel Lerner, I was impressed by what you were presenting, but I have one serious question, and that is, it seemed to me that you were painting as an either-or situation between the power approach and the more idealistic approach. And it seems to me that it should not be posed that way, because there are forces in the world that no matter how much we try to be nice to them, they are not going to be nice back. And I don't think that the way that you presented it recognized that, and I'd like you to deal with what I'm referring to.
Are we start? Yeah, you take it first.
I take that one?
Yeah.
You know, the short answer and there's a long answer. The short answer is, you're also right. This is an old Jewish movement that says, you're right, and you're right. And you say, how can they both be right? You're also right. Look, we didn't come to Washington because Washington needed support for looking at the world from a fearful and domination standpoint. Okay? The voices saying that in the world are already overwhelming. Okay? But what is not overwhelming and what is really needed to be heard is a different consciousness, a different perspective. And does this mean that you deny that there are any hurtful forces in the world? No, we don't want to deny that there are hurtful forces in the world, although we might want to deny that they're frozen, that they're stuck. And some people come back and they say to me, well, yeah, by the time you look at Hitler, would you have tried to talk to him about love and caring and kindness and generosity? And I'd say, no. I wouldn't look at Hitler once they had taken power. Okay? The fact is that those people have not yet taken power in this country. That they serve corporate interests, but the corporations are a very complex reality in which there are many decent people in corporations that are doing indecent things. You know, it's not just like, recognize that these are evil forces. It's a complex reality in which it's continually important to affirm the humanity even of people who are doing hurtful things, because there is a way to move a lot of those people. And a lot of those people are held in their place by the sense that, well, of course I'd want to live in a different kind of world if that was possible, but it's not possible. And what makes that not possible in their mind is that everybody they know says it's not possible. And what makes it not possible to those people is that everybody they know says it's not possible. It's what Peter Gabel once described as a rotating paranoia that goes through the whole society and leads in that direction. So our task is to move to challenge that paranoia by putting forward a different kind of perspective. And in terms of Hitler, 1928, I mean, anybody who know the history, 1928 was very different than 1933. We are more like in the late 20s in terms of German history than we are after the conquest of power by the party.
That's right.
And there were a lot of people who eventually got attracted to the Nazis who were previously attracted to the socialists. But there needed to be a different discourse to them. It couldn't just be the discourse of the social democrats in this country, namely of the Democratic Party, namely of rights and entitlements. It had to be a discourse of love and caring and kindness, because people were scared and feeling like nobody understood their needs. So I'm one who affirms the humanity of people in the Tea Party and believes that many of them have needs very similar to ours. And they are in a framework in which those are being affirmed, but in a hurtful way. And we need to affirm them in a non-hurtful way. And to do that, partly, we have to recognize that the people who seem to be fixed and stuck in bad politics or in hurtful politics are many of them not stuck. And the way is to begin to talk to them through the language of love, through the language of caring, through the language of generosity, to foreground that kind of discourse that for a moment Obama was foregrounding and is not as much anymore, and that we have to play that role.
Yeah.
So to add one more thing to that look, at the time Obama took office, let's assume that he was surrounded by people who were warning him of dire threats that could take place in American cities.
Right.
That he was new to the position, that he was being given information that led him to think that ongoing military action in northern Pakistan and Afghanistan was necessary to prevent people from being killed in major American cities. At the time that the bank bailout took place, let's assume that he thought the whole economy was going to collapse unless there was a bailout of the banks. He was not an expert economist who could foresee the future. He was a constitutional law teacher who, through his own charisma and moral capability and dedication, had gotten elected president. And it seemed necessary to him for a massive bailout to occur in order to stabilize the economy and begin to reverse it. Now we see the negative aspects of both of those things. Maybe the decision about Afghanistan was the wrong one. Maybe the decision about the banks was the wrong one. I agree with Michael about the national banks. I agree at least we should take a majority control of all those banks and run them as a national community. But, and therefore prevented the, $1 million salaries and bonuses and all that preposterous, immoral things that happened in connection with the bailout. But it's important to hold the ambiguity of what likely shaped his consciousness and shaped his direction, and at the same time allow ourselves to feel the tremendous disappointment that the moral dimension that Michael was just speaking to has been lost from the way that he manifests himself. And that's that. About that, I don't think there really is an ambiguity in response to the last speaker. It's something that's central, even recognizing the necessity of power on some occasions and the necessity of difficult decisions.